Hi guys. Today I want to talk about everybody and nobody. And to start off, I am going to share a concept called the generalized other. And I'm going to do a little slideshow. So just bear with me for 1 second and I'll get that started. Uh, so have you ever had the experience of going to a party or to somewhere and you worry about what everybody's going to think about you? Is everybody going to dislike your new hairdo or your shirt or what you're doing for a living? Or is nobody going to like what you're doing? That idea of everybody and nobody is a concept that's referred to in sociology as being the generalized other, which is our internalized way that we look at. I am not recording this. Yes, I am. Okay. I was worried I wasn't recording this. So anyway, the generalized other is our internalizing of what we think everybody else is thinking. And as an example, I know when I was younger, I used to worry that everybody was talking about me when I'd go into a new situation and people would be laughing. I was certain that they were laughing about me until I realized that most people are preoccupied with their own thoughts and not really concerned about what I'm doing, which is good thing. So anyway, that's the idea of the generalized other. And Martha Beck, who wrote the book, among others, Finding Your Own North Star, said that no matter how deeply your essential self longs to find the real love, the real mission, the real meaning of your life, your social self will not let you embrace those things as long as everybody disapproves. So in order for us to move forward in our lives, we need to acknowledge and see what that other is, who that everybody is. And one thing that I learned out of reading Martha Beck's book is that everybody can usually be summed up in 5 or 6 people that we know. And I know for me that my everybody stems a lot from experiences that I had as a child. And my everybody keeps re-emerging in different people. It's just kind of a way of reliving the experiences that I had with 1 or 2 people earlier in my life. So again, to move forward in our lives, to move past the fear that we're facing, we need to get past that idea of everybody. And for me, I did this image last night of Melba. And Melba is a fictional representation of my everybody. And the thing that Melba says to me is that nobody loves you unless you're perfect. And that is a thing that tends to go through my mind whenever I'm experiencing something new, or that my fears are kind of consuming me, that unless I'm perfect, unless I have it all together, that nobody's going to love me unless it is perfect. And the funny thing is that Melba's standing over me while I am doing things like giving a speech or introducing myself in a networking event or giving a presentation like I'm doing right now or like I did yesterday. And just worrying that my everybody, my Melba, is thinking unless you get this perfect, that everybody's going to walk away and not love me. And obviously, I know that that's not true because For one thing, one point of reference is I've now been married for 23 years, and my wife has never left me, just despite how crazy I may be at times. She's a rock, and there's also lots of friends and people that give me support and guidance and love. And you know, Melba's message is not true, as is usually the case with our everybody's and our nobodies. One of the things that really empowers us in our lives is when we can recognize and name the fears that we have. One of the stories that I really like is that of Harry Potter. And to be honest, I don't read a ton of fiction, but the Harry Potter series was a series that I kind of devoured. And one of the ideas that I get from the Harry Potter series is just how Harry Potter was willing, more than anybody else, to use Voldemort's name. That he wasn't afraid to call him by who he was. Everybody else was, kind of overwhelmed by the idea of what if Voldemort, if I say the word Voldemort, then it's going to become more real, and it'll be too overpowering. And instead, Harry Potter named Voldemort, and he wasn't afraid to use that name. And ultimately, it was Harry Potter that rose victorious over Voldemort. And of course, it didn't happen overnight. It lasted through 7 books and 8 movies, and but he remained courageous and knew who he was fighting because he was willing to name that fear. And when we do the same thing in our own lives, when we are willing to name, for example, my Melba, and recognize what it is, the message that's being shared, then we can move past those fears and rise victorious as we encounter that. So today's homework is to name your everybody. And that is both an opportunity to look at your own life and just to list out, when you think of everybody, who is it that you're thinking of, who comes to your mind. And that part I don't expect. In fact, I discourage you from sharing. I think that's kind of a private thing. But you can name your fictitious everybody, your Melba. And then the second thing is what does everybody say? What does your Melba say? Is she saying nobody's going to love you if you're not perfect? Or is there something else that your everybody is saying? And then the second opportunity, the further opportunity, is for you to take that and to reframe it. So for me, the way that I do that is that I take a look at Melba and I realize that she's human, that she wants love in her own life, and that what she's projecting upon me is really her own fear that people aren't going to love her unless she's perfect. And so just kind of coming to terms with that, naming that in my own life and naming that person, that character. Hi, Nancy.
Just got your Facebook thing. Just got it. I missed yesterday, but I did see the recording.
Okay. Well, great. So I'm just honestly just finishing up, but I will kind of run you through what I've been talking about. There's this concept of the generalized other. Mm-hmm. You know how you go to a party or a public setting or something, and let me stop sharing for just right now. So you go to an event and you're worried about what is everybody going to think about me, or nobody's going to like whatever I'm doing, or whatever it may be. And we have this big image of everybody.
Yeah.
And it's this fictitious thing that doesn't really exist. I remember when I was younger, I was kind of like paralyzed by that fear that everybody was laughing at me when I heard other people laughing in a public setting, until I realized, you know what, they're probably not even thinking about me, probably don't even see that I'm here, so I can let go of that. And
if you knew how little other people were thinking about you, you'd be shocked.
Right, exactly. But we spend so much energy on this idea of what everybody's thinking about us, and we kind of get paralyzed in our tracks because of that fear. And so
I have a great story for you to add to that for your use. You're welcome to use it.
Great.
As a music performer, my husband and I have a duo, and he does a lot of other music as well. The first 15 to 20 minutes that you're performing to a new audience are terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how long you've been performing. If it's an audience you've played to many, many times, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
You can get just your voice warmed up and you're right in. But you have a lot of psychological warm-up to a new crowd. And it is really, really hard if they're not paying attention to you, if they are whispering to each other, or they could be even snickering. All kinds of weird things are going on. And you think, oh no, they don't like what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it's rarely about you at all.
Yeah.
Somebody told their partner a little bit of a joke, and it hasn't even got anything to do with you. But in that first 15 to 20 minutes, it is so psychological.
Yeah.
It's absolutely unbelievable. If you're into it half an hour, 40 minutes into an hour's performance, and somebody does something like that, it doesn't bother you at all because they've been paying attention. It's going well, and that bit where they're not paying attention doesn't even bother you.
That's really interesting, because that's what happened yesterday on the Zoom conference that I did with Miche and Paula. Was 15, 20 minutes into it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, I'm cringing. I'm this is going horribly. Everybody's gonna think I'm an idiot, and et cetera, et cetera. And then once I kind of like, what? Wait a minute, I'm with friends. They don't think I'm an idiot, or if they do, they're okay with me being an idiot.
And it is so psychologically common as an experience that we can take a program that we've done 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
And it will still happen to a new audience.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a psychological thing. It is really hard to combat, and my husband has a worse time with it than I do, because I have a little freer personality than he is.
Okay.
And he really gets damaged. He will just be so sure that they hate what he's doing, or they're talking about him, or whatever. And I have to keep saying, they're just not really into the performance yet. That's all it's about. Right.
Yeah, but we make it mean so much more than what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first met him, we would get hired to do background music at an event, which is very different from a performance, right? You're just there to add to the ambiance. And people aren't paying attention to you. So he's used to playing for dancers, performance. And so when we get stuck into a little corner and we're just providing background, it used to drive him crazy. They don't like it. They're not paying attention. They're not clapping. You're not here for that. That's not the purpose of what
they're not supposed to be.
And it was really, really hard on him until we really worked on the concept of background music, and we went to a few events where there was other background performers hired. And I said, now, do you understand that you're not really listening to them?
Right. Yeah.
But it's better than if they weren't playing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he had to really pay attention to it and really absorb what that was about. And we just did a private house party, Oktoberfest, just the two of us. But she had us set up in a room down the hall from
Oh,
where the
really?
hall was.
Oh, wow. So nobody could even see you, probably.
They saw us when they came in. We were in
Mm.
costume. So they saw us when they came in and kind of said hi, and then they headed off to the party. And then our music was piped to them.
Huh.
So they knew what we looked like because they had seen us, but the music was piped in, and we're playing to nobody. There's nobody there. And as a performer, you do feed off your audience.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And there's nobody there. And I just said to Neil, just pretend they're here. We can hear them laughing. We can hear them clapping. They were and every once in a while, somebody would come down the hall and give us a thumbs up.
Nice.
But it was very weird. It was very different. But they didn't have room to put us where they were all gathered.
Mm.
So we've been in some very different situations.
That would be a really different experience. Hey, I've got to run. I've got to go pick up my daughter. But I'm glad you're able to join me for these few minutes.
Yeah.
And I'll be posting this.
You'll put the recording up. I was assuming that.
Yeah, I will put that up. And I'm really, thank you for joining me because it added some further texture to it. So
yes, and definitely go ahead and use some of those stories, because that first bit of performing to an unknown crowd is psychologically.
I thought it was just me.
No, it's not just you. And I've been performing since I was 4.
Wow.
And it still happens.
Huh, no kidding. Wow. Well, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, and you have a good evening. And I'll post this. It'll be up. Well, it'll be up sometime tonight. But thank you.
Super.
All right.
You
Have
bet.
a great evening. Okay.
I
Bye
will.
bye.